Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montevilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Juki DX-2000 QVP. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the touch screen and what these various buttons mean. So to start with, we have, it's actually the operations panel. Up here, this is not a touch screen, it's just an information screen, but it gives you a lot of information in terms of what your stitch is, what mode you're in, what foot to use, your needle position or your stitch width, and that can be changed right here. Your stitch length, 2.4 is your regular garment sewing stitch length, so when you press this, number 1, that gives you your standard center needle position, 2.4 millimeter stitch length. Okay, now you notice when I change these, if I want to get back to the default for that particular stitch, all I got to do is just reselect the stitch. That's in this mode. This mode means that when you touch a particular key, it goes directly to that stitch, and you can see what stitch you have right up here. It gives you the number and the picture of the stitch. Okay, so now here we have the clear button and the OK button, and the clear button and OK button have more to do with either settings or if you're stitching a combination of stitches like lettering and you want to clear a particular letter or a sequence or whatever. And then the arrow buttons are where you can scroll through various settings, or you can change where the cursor is on a particular line of stitches. Think of the OK button as being like the yes button and the clear button as being the no button. So if you don't want to do something, or if you want to go the back button, that could also be the clear button. So like if I'm in settings and I want to go get out of settings, I just push my clear button. Okay, so this is your settings button down here, and we're going to get into settings later on in a different video. But just know that that's where they are, and you can customize your machine to make it just right and happy sewing. Okay, then we have the mode buttons right here. Now that refers to these up here. So the mode buttons right here give you these stitches right here. When you go to this one here, the 1, 2, 3 button, now you have these different options, either this here or your buttonholes. You can continue on into the decorative stitches or quilting type applique stitches. Whoops, go back to that. Here we go. Whoops, I was in the wrong mode. And then there's more decorative stitches, and then your satin stitches down here. So if you look at the keys up here, you can see where you are. Now, for lettering, that's the one that I accidentally pushed there. You can also do some of these other decorative stitches and just do a single one. So say, for instance, you wanted a heart at the beginning of a word and a heart at the end of a word. You could have a single heart at the beginning, at the end. Over here, you would have like a whole line of hearts or stars or bows. So now let's get back into this. This one here is a really nice feature. When you have that turned on, that's going to give you an automatic backstitch at the beginning and the ending. And in our Getting Started video, that's where I talked about how you could use that to make your sewing more efficient. You can also press it a second time, and that's going to give you a locking stitch at the beginning. Now the little scissors mean at the end, when you press that locking stitch, or in the case of the back stitch, it will automatically perform that procedure of locking off your stitching, and it will also cut your thread. So it's a time saver having this button here. And then a third button push just turns that off. This is an interesting feature. This float function, what that's good for is it actually lifts up your presser foot a little bit, and in settings you can adjust how much it lifts. The nice feature about that is if you're sewing on something that has pile like velvet or something, and you want not quite as much, a little bit of lift in your presser foot, but it's still enough. You can see how that'll slide through, but it's still, the presser foot is down and there's still tension on the thread. So you can turn that off. This is also a nice feature to have when you are doing your free motion quilting. You can adjust the loft based on the loft of your batting. You can adjust in settings how much that lifts. So I'm going to turn that off for now, and you can see the presser foot goes right back down. Then this one here, this is not going to work unless you're in this setting here where you have a single stitch. Now let me show you. If I was in this one here and I went up to the thing that I stitched out before is this little guy here. Right here, if I'm in this setting, I'm going to push OK for now, and I did this, here, 25, let me go with that. Here we go. If I just wanted one of those, that's all I would get. If I wanted a whole line of them, I would push this button. So, single stitch, whole line of stitching, a third push, and you can see those little hearts are closer together there. So see how these little sunbursts are a little closer together. So that's how this changes, these three. Okay, I'm going to get back out of that. And we're going to get back into this one. Now this is a nice option. I'm going to go with that. And we're going to go with, go down here. Okay. Okay. Now you can see how I'm scrolling through to get the various things that we want. Okay, I'm going to go with that little sunburst here, 60. Okay, there we go. That was my sunburst. Okay, on this one, in this category here, doing that's not going to make any, you won't be able to use it. But listen what it sounds like. It sounds almost like a quick chirping of a cricket. That is your beep that tells you, no, you can't do that particular operation. If I was in this, and I went over to here, and then okay, and then, what was that? 60. Okay, now I lost it. Here we go. Yeah, 60. Now I can use it. Okay. All right. So that's this button right here. Now this is the turnover key right down here. That means I can turn it over one way or the other. Nice. Here, let me show you this right here. Okay. So this stitch was stitched with it regular, and then I turned it over and did it this way. What's useful about that is if, let's say you have a little girl's dress and you want to have a line of hearts or leaves or something like this on the hem, you may want to flip over that stitch so that the baseline is near the hem. That way you can sew it with the hem on this side and the rest of the dress over here instead of having the dress here. So that's really useful. Also, when you're doing stitch combinations, and I've got another video on that. When you're doing stitch combinations, a single stitch can be turned over and give you an extra interest to your line of stitching like that using this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to get back into here, and it gives me this here. Do I want to delete that pattern? Yes, I do. If I accidentally push that button, all I've got to do is go over to this, no, and push OK. It gets me back into that. But I do want to go back into this, so I'm going to push OK. All right, here is your settings button, and I kind of referred to that earlier. The settings can make it so that your sewing is more efficient, is more in your machine, is the way you want it to be. It makes sewing happy, efficient experience, and I've got another video on that. So that's basically your touch screen. Try things out, try different stitches. It'd be a good idea to just stitch out every stitch in your machine so you can see what it actually looks like when you sew. So this is our video on the touch panel. Thank you for watching. We have lots of other videos on this machine and on other machines here at Montevilla on our YouTube channel. So see you later. Bye.